And welcome back, everybody, to Zombies Garage. Not bringing anything back to life today. Making sure it lives a lot longer, though. We're going to be doing spring maintenance on my riding mower. What we're going to cover today is just the basics that need to be done on a yearly basis, in my opinion, on for a mower to keep it going a much longer life. Uh, Part of the reason why I fix up so many mowers is because people don't take care of them. They don't perform basic maintenance. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't have enough money in my life to keep replacing a mower every couple years. So, without further ado, we are going to go over the basics. We're going to change the engine oil, change the engine oil filter. This one has a serviceable transmission. Not all riding mowers have serviceable transmission. This one has an oil filter and it has a drain plug with a fill port for filling the oil. Now, some of the cheaper mowers with the hydrostatic transmissions, you can change the oil. It involves you taking the whole transaxle out, flip it over, draining the oil, flipping it back over, fill it up to usually about an inch below the fill port. And then usually you'll try to cycle, spin the pulley on top. That way the oil cycles will get all the air out, and then just double check it again. We're going to also hit the grease points on everything, including the deck, the steering, and such like that, and then any other general maintenance things to check over. Uh, First things first, we're going to get started with the engine. This one takes 10W30. I am actually going to be putting 15W40 in it. The motor itself only has 350 hours. These motors are used a lot in generators and such. It's designed to run a long time. So, but I like the diesel oil because it's got a detergent in there. It helps keep the engine clean. It also has a higher zinc and phosphorus, which is better for bearings and rocker arms. And since it doesn't have a catalytic converter, no big deal. We also have a fuel filter down there. There's the engine oil filter. We'll change that stuff too. This is yearly stuff that I do every year just to get the most out of these mowers. So I'm going to get these panels off. We'll get the stand set up so we can get a better view of everything. Alright, so we're going to get this oil drain. I got some cardboard positioned in ways that hopefully prevent me spilling it. Oil is a little on the cold side. Meant to change it when it was hot last, but it just didn't happen. So while that's draining, we're going to get this oil filter off. It's almost like I perfectly planned this. Now I have a screen, you can kind of see it down there. I use this for catching filters. There we go. There we go. We're gonna put that right down there. And that'll allow the filter to drain out into the pan too. Makes disposal a lot easier. So let's go fast forward like 10-15 minutes and let this drain out the entire rest of the way. Alright, so while that's draining, we'll put the new engine oil filter on there. Don't criticize me. I know, I don't like Fram filters either. They are generally known as junk. They're cheap stuff like this one, Extra Guard. But the guy I bought this off of gave me a 6-pack, well, gave me 5 out of a 6-pack of these. And I might also just use them up. And they'll be fine for a regular riding lawnmower. So, we're going to go ahead and clean the surface up here. Make sure everything stays nice and clean. Important it's always been important to take good care of stuff. I mean, think about this. You're spending a lot of money. Make sure we oil the O-ring here. You're spending a lot of money on these mowers. And I don't understand the concept of not doing basic maintenance. If you are not capable, you feel like you're not capable of doing something as simple as an oil change, you probably know somebody that does. and they'll be more than happy to do it for a small fee, or maybe nothing if you're, especially if you're friends with them. Spin it on until it stops, then a half a turn. That's it. That's all it needs on those filters. You don't need to just beat these things on there. I do maintenance on construction equipment all the time. All those filters ever say is spin it till it stops, half to a 3/4 of a turn. Guess what? I've never had an oil filter come off of construction equipment. I've never had a leakage issue. Knock on wood. No, knock on wood. In so many years of doing this kind of work. You don't have to crank these filters. You don't need to use a filter wrench to tighten this stuff on. As long as there's nothing wrong with the mating surface or nothing wrong with the O-ring, this will not leak as long as it's just a half a turn. These engines vibrate a lot. They're never going to vibrate so much that you're going to have a problem here. So, with that said, just do the half a turn. Make it easier on the next person. Same goes with cars or anything else you're working on. You can disagree all you want, but you're wrong. All you need is a half a turn. We're still waiting for that to drain because it is a slow drain on there. So from there, we're going to get to work on other maintenance that needs to be done on here while that's draining. Alright, as you can see, engine oil is done. We got our cleaned up cap. I'm just going to put that back on there and get it on there. This one's a 5/8 or possibly even 14 millimeter. But being a Cub Cadet, it probably is using the American standard. So we're going to go ahead, get this nice and tight so it don't leak any oil or seep any oil. If I have any issues, I guess I could put some plumber's tape in there. I almost feel like there should be an O-ring in there, in my personal opinion. Oop, too far. There we go. That should be plenty tight. Let's clean up our work area and dispose of this cardboard. Clean up any mess we left behind, any oil spillage. Alright, so we got the filter on. Let's go get some oil in there. As I said, I'm putting 15W40 just for the cleansing effect the oil has, and the fact that it has a better additive package than the standard motor oil anymore. This mower came out before the additive packages on oil got really weak with the zinc and the phosphorus and such. That's why I just usually just go with 15W40. It's a better oil. So let me go get the funnel. This motor should take about 2 quarts. Check back with me in a minute. We'll get this thing loaded up. You know, one thing I don't like, stuff that uses the fill tube and the dipstick at the same time. Because what happens is, the tube on here is pretty small. And I forgot about this last year when I filled it up. And you have to be gentle about filling up the oil with a funnel in there, or it just pours right out the sides. So you got to pour it slowly. Secondly, it coats the inside of this tube here with oil. So when you put the dipstick tube in there, it covers the whole dipstick tube with oil. It's very hard to see how much oil you put in there. But running it a bunch of times, we're a little over full. Probably just enough for the filter to get all the oil. Get this all the way down in there. I put a new O-ring in there because it was spilling oil all around here. So I put an O-ring in here to make it a little more tight. There we go. Nope, not quite. There it goes. So we're not going to fire it up yet. We're going to get the fuel filter next, followed by the air filter. Alright, so let's get this fuel filter off. I already put my hose clamps on there. I positioned my oil pan underneath it to catch the oil gas that's going to spill out here in a second. Again, my lineman pliers, like my lineman pliers for giving these style clamps. Pour the gas right in there. Get that off my hands. These are these little universal filters they sell on Amazon. They seem to work pretty good. A lot of people said be careful of which ones you use for these ones that have the fuel pumps on them, because sometimes they don't like to suck fuel through there. I've never had any problem. I'm sure I will this time, because that's life. And when I'm trying to make a point is usually the time I'm most likely to be wrong. And there. Alright, we're already filling up fuel with gas. Nice thing about it's almost a little bit like gravity fed. Just double check we don't have any leaks, because it looks like the fuel line is starting to get kind of old there. We might look at replacing that the next time we have everything apart. It don't hurt to do that every once in a while. Alright, I don't see any leaks right now, so let's get this air cleaner that's right above the fuel filter. Alright, so we got the air filter here. Let's center the camera a little bit. These ones have a quarter turn. Lift up and off. Looks kind of dirty. And this is a simple job. That has a good impact on it. There it goes. Alright. And then put this cover back on here. Like I said, maintenance is such an important thing that so many people just kind of balk at, and I don't understand. But you spend a couple $1,000s on some of these mowers. There we go. And why waste the money? You know, you spend the air filter. I mean, didn't have to buy the engine oil filter, but oil, everything, maybe $50. I mean, I'm gonna do the transmission on here, but I mean, most mowers you don't have to worry about the transmission, so you're risking losing a lot of money, especially in repairs, and it's getting much harder nowadays to find somebody that, ooh, that's not good. That fuel filter's wiggling around in there. That means it wasn't really filtering anymore. It means it unsealed from the top up there and was just letting fuel by. And this is one. This is Cub Cadet filter, or a MTD filter, so I'm surprised. Usually their stuff is pretty good quality, overpriced, but usually always good quality. Glad we're replacing the fuel filter now. From there, we're gonna move on back to the transmission. We'll get to servicing that next. Alright, so we got the back of the transmission. We got our dipstick here. We're gonna pop that open to allow oil to come out easier. We got a drain bowl right here. Sorry, I can't get us on a stand at this angle. And then we have a filter right in front of it. So this should be, I think, 6.6 quarts. This pan is supposed to hold 7. Let's find out which one is lying. So let's get this drain bowl out. There we go. Ooh, yeah, that looks good. Alright, we're gonna let that drain. And if I have to, I'll jam this plug back in there, dump this back out, and then finish draining it. So let me stop it right here, and hope by the time we get done, we'll get to that filter. Alright, we finished draining it, and yeah, the pan was not enough. So we're just spinning the filter right now. And there we go. Let that drain. There we go. Like I said, that screen is nice. I use it for work all the time, for working on construction equipment. Now, granted, I'm working with, you know, gallon filters and such, and this usually is on a 5-gallon bucket, but it works just the same here. So let's go ahead and go get the new filter. We'll oil up the O-ring. I'm not going to video that because that is a dang awkward spot to put a filter. So I'll see you all in a minute when we're refilling this. Now, for these type of transactions, they recommend 20W50 synthetic or motor oil. Unfortunately, 2050, all I can find is regular motor oil. So we're going to go ahead and get everything in here, and we'll check the dipstick, and hopefully we're at the right level. Alright, don't mind the background noise there. Well, we got everything filled up. It's most of the way full. I got another quart need be, which I'm sure I'm going to need for the filter. Otherwise, fuel filter, air filter. The only thing we haven't done is grease it. We will fire this thing up. Hopefully the starter is lasting on me, because the starter has been starting to act up lately. So, sound warning now. Voiceover time. I am basically just adjusting the throttle down, and we're going to start looking for leaks or any other issues about to happen. Take a look at the engine oil. More tools falling. Engine oil filter and a fuel filter. More tools falling. At this point, we're starting to hear air pass through the hydrostatic transmission. You hear that creaking noise. That's just air moving around. But we're going to hop up on the mower here, and we are going to work the forward and reverse back and forth a little bit to help get the air out of the system. Not too much, don't want it to fall off the stands. And idle it back down even more, get a little more quieter in here. Double check my filters. Check the hydrostatic, make sure nothing's leaking under there. Everything looks good. But I'm going to come right back to another problem here in a moment. That's why I'm grabbing my rag. And that is the fuel filter is not sealing on the one side of the hose. So what we're going to do is shut the mower down here and take a better look at it. Alright, we got a slight leak in the fuel line there. I was kind of afraid of that. Probably need a better hose clamp than that. Oops, sorry. We'll put a hose style, not hose style, worm style clamp on there. Everything else seems fine. We'll just top off the oils, and then we'll move on to the next thing, getting everything greased up here. Okay, so pretty much everything is done at this point. I double checked the oil, everything's topped up. We got greasing now. Now, most motors have similar grease points. We got grease points on top of the spindles here. And we have a grease point over here for this pulley back here. Some wheels will have a grease fitting, usually either on the front side or the back side. This has sealed bearings, so I don't have to do that, but I do have a grease point right here. And I believe I have another one underneath the axle there, the front axle. It's hard to see, but it is. There's one right up by there. And that's just for the axle to move side to side like that. Alright, yep. Oil's topped up. New air cleaner. She is good to go. At the end of last season, I took the deck off, cleaned it, and just put oil on the bottom of the deck to help prevent rust. And since I had it out, I sharpened the blades at the same time. I didn't put that into a video, but I went ahead and sharpened up the blades. So I'm going to go ahead and grease it. We're going to get this down, and we'll take it out for a test drive. And that's it, everyone. That's really all it takes for most mowers to keep them going for another year. Yes, I did have the transmission, which is not something common. Yeah, the non-serviceable ones you can drain and refill, and it's a good idea to do it after a couple 100 hours. That said, that's pretty much it. It's not much to take care of these mowers. I've had mowers come through where the front wheels are falling off because they never greased anything on there, and they couldn't figure out why they were going through blade spindles like every 2 years, or why their wheels were falling off because the bearings were just completely gone because they're dry, or motors not running right because they never changed oil, seized or blown out motors, things like that. It's not running right because they're running the wrong type of fuel. Like I said before, non-ethanol fuel. They'll keep it from gumming up the carburetor from over the winter time. And just taking care of things. I wash this mower off every so often, and I don't go crazy. Like, I don't wash it after every mow. I know some people that do. I wash it like maybe once a month at best, and that's really giving me a lot of credit. Sometimes I don't wash it the entire summer, especially if it hasn't been a very dusty summer. Everything's greased. No my normal maintenance, I do a pump or two into the spindles once a month. That's usually every 2 to 3 mows for me. The front spindles and such like that, I only do them once a year. Depending on the mower, the front wheels I'll also do like once a month also, just because of how they are. Outside of that, that's pretty much it. I check the oil every time I mow. Same with the rear axle on this one. Just because the rear seal for this dipstick is pretty terrible. And that's pretty much it. Check my air, my tires, and that's all y'all have to do to keep motors running. It's really simple, and if you don't have somebody, I guarantee you somebody in your neighborhood will do it and knows how to do it. They might even be able to teach you how to do it. It don't take a lot of you don't need a lot of tools for it. A basic tool kit, which is handy to have around your house already, and getting some oil on the way to dispose of oil. I have a way of disposing the oil because I work for a large construction dealer, and they encourage us to we'll give them our used oil when we're done using it. That's pretty much it. Hopefully we'll have another project coming through pretty soon. I mean, I know it's kind of boring rehashing over the same old stuff every time, but it is what it is. Real busy at work right now, not a lot of time to go playing around finding projects. So we'll get this one back out in the yard, get mowing soon because grass is starting to grow pretty quickly. We'll catch y'all next time, everybody. Appreciate you coming by, checking out Zombies Garage, and we'll see y'all next time.